What's hard about directing? You have a great actress and a cinematographer.
The hardest part is remembering everything, because you don't shoot in order, you know, so everything's out of sequence. And the hardest thing... I think that would be one of the toughest things about acting, because you've got to be here, especially if the actor has a progression that they're going through. Mm-hmm. It is. Well, and as a director, you should be, it's in your contract, you should be aware of where everyone is in their emotional arc during the film. And, you know, you have to say, you know, remember, she's mad at him here. Don't forget they've had that scene. And you might have just played a scene before where the two characters are very happy with each other. So it's very hard. I was surprised by how much concentration it took. In every way. Not only do you have to remember what each character's going through at that point in that scene, but then you always have to look at it too, you know, you have to think, well, this cut together well, and I didn't have any sense of that, and you have to think, are we staging it in a way that'll keep the pace moving the best, in the most flowing manner? I was surprised by how much there was to think about. How did you prepare?
I did quite a bit of research with a woman in LA who's sort of an expert on period everything. I had very little time, of course, as usual, between the extraction of my wisdom teeth and my flight to London. So she gave me quite a bit of material, which I studied, and I worked with the accent coach. That was really the main thing, that I wanted to get it as well as I could.
Most of the rest of the cast, British.
Most. Yeah. I mean, all from countries that were once a part of the Empire.
Yeah, Scott. Two Scots and an Australian.
Was there some reluctance? Did you fear you wanted to get the accent right, A, because of the role demanded it, but also you're going into a circumstance where they say, prove it to us, American actress.
It was it was very daunting. And it was palpable the day that we went in to do the first read-through with the cast, you know. I was very intimidated, and, you know, we were there with all these wonderful British actors. And here I was, like the skinny kid from America, you know, and they were all just a little bit, I mean, you could feel it, you know. But then I think they were very supportive.
When did you know you had it locked? Feel a sense that I've got this?
Well, I think originally when I first read it here in New York, and then we read it through down at the Tribeca Film Center for Harvey Weinstein to...
This is the head of Merrimack.
Right, to hear it all through. And I felt, you know, I click with this.
When you saw the film, having seen the rushes and seen the film, if you could do it again, would you do it any differently?
Emma? Yeah.
You would?
There are things I would do differently.
Just a moment or a scene or an attitude or...
There are all of those things.
Don't you love somebody to ask the question and answer them too?
Yes, I do. It really takes the pressure off. There are definitely certain things that I would change. I don't necessarily want to go through them because then people will watch the movie and go, oh, yeah. Fair. But
you could go through them with me, though.
I will. I will.
Because it was the director's.
No, not at all. They're just, you know, but I have to say that honestly, I've never been happier with a performance of mine. You know, I really am, and it takes quite a bit for me to say that.
What is it about Jane Austen that makes these books so popular today in America and around the world in terms of Emma, Sense and Sensibilities, Persuasion, a whole series on A&E?
I think it's the nudity and the violence. I know that's what
the
drew.
nude scenes of her in Emma to die for, worth the price of the admission. Would you say? Would you say?
Easy, fellas.
No, I think it's that they're you know, they're about the main thing that most people talk about, which is other people's love lives, and how people are behaving at parties, and what they're wearing, and I mean, it has nothing to do with 1816, which is when Emma was written. You know, there are a lot of physical period details, but the conversation, the subject of it, is all what everybody talks about today. It's about, you know,
it's
who's
people commenting on each other.
Yes, and who's the right person to be in love with.
Yeah, that's the. Go ahead, you tell me. Emma is about, in the largest sense, what?
That's right for you or that you were born to be with. I think it implies that everybody has their perfect matter of time and open-mindedness until you discover each other.
But you have to know yourself to be able to find that person.
That's very true.
And Emma, when the film starts, doesn't know herself.
That's
she
right.
thinks she knows herself, and she thinks she knows what's right for everybody else.
But doesn't know what's right for her.
No, and that's because she's never
Or
been.
anybody else.
Or anybody else, yeah.
And that's because she's never been in love. And it takes falling in love for her to find out who she really is.
Mm-hmm.
Were you
Looking for love when you fell in love? Or were you just...
No, I wasn't at all. It just sort of fell from the heavens.
on the set of Seven?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it... I'm asking this only because I don't want to be soap opera-ish about this. Did it infuse your sense of the character, the fact that you're so wonderfully in love, infuse your sense of Emma and that role? Because it was part of who you were at that time in your life?
Mm-hmm. I think that anywhere you are in time and space, emotionally and mentally, always influences your work.
That's what you draw on?
Well, sure. I mean, the more you go through, the more you learn, the more circumstances that you're privy to, the richer your bank is from which to draw from. So I think that anything, you know, that's especially the very deep emotions, it's just like the well gets deeper, you know, in terms of using it for your work. You just understand things better.
It must be terribly difficult for Brad, though, to know that this woman that he loves so much, he respects so much, admires so much, is so crazy about, is also the object of all this adulation by every man, young or old. And they're shameless in the way they're so mad for you.
Well, now he knows how I felt.
Congratulations on the success of Emma, both of you. I mean, it is, it's wonderful because, one, it is a great story, and it's your story. It's Jane Austen's story, and it's a sense of your story. I mean, what better performance and role to choose? It was kind of a coming of age for you, having made choices so that you would grow at a certain rate, and all of a sudden Emma comes, and it all comes together for the film and for you and for the other actors and for a first-time director. I'm very honored to have you on this broadcast.
I'm glad to be here.
My thanks to Gwyneth Paltrow and Mira Sorvino. We'll see you next time. See you then.